In the mid-20th century, Islam became deeply entwined with the American civil rights movement, positioned as a spiritual home for those seeking racial liberation. Preachers often present a specific version of history. They claim Islam is the indigenous religion of Africa, that the Prophet Muhammad was black, and that the faith effectively abolished slavery centuries ago. These claims find a massive audience in the West, but they exist alongside a significant language barrier. The vast majority of people following this narrative cannot read the original 7th century Arabic sources. When those primary manuscripts are translated and examined, the historical record regarding race and skin color directly contradicts the modern pitch. The popular Western image of Islamic racial equality often functions as a modern outreach strategy that obscures the contents of the foundational texts. While some modern groups claim Muhammad was black, early Islamic traditions describe him differently. These texts repeatedly emphasize his physical whiteness, with specific accounts in the Hadith detailing the whiteness of his thighs and forearms. This emphasis on skin tone is tied to the Quran's description of Judgment Day. The text states that on that day, faces will be sorted. Those with whitened faces enter paradise, while those with blackened faces are sent to hell as a punishment for their disbelief. Specific narrations describe this sorting as part of the very moment of creation. In the Hadith, God creates Adam and begins dividing his descendants into two distinct groups based on their destined fate. God is described as striking Adam's right shoulder to bring out his white children, comparing them to pearls, and declaiming that these people of the right side are destined for paradise. He then strikes the left shoulder, producing black children who are compared to coals. These individuals are explicitly told they are headed toward hell. The narration concludes with God stating he has no fear regarding this sentence. According to the text, he has already predestined their actions, meaning their fate was decided before they were ever born. In these foundational sources, color is used as a definitive spiritual label. Blackness is linked to a state of inherent damnation that exists independently of an individual's choices. This theological hierarchy extended into the practical economy of the early Islamic State. Despite the abolition narrative, Muhammad actively participated in the slave trade, owning, buying, and selling human beings. The value of these individuals was often determined by race. In one recorded transaction from Sahih Muslim, the Prophet traded away 2 black slaves in exchange for a single Arab slave, establishing a literal 2-for-1 exchange rate. Individual accounts reinforce this status. When a black slave named Midam was killed, the Prophet informed his followers that Midam would burn in hell, not for a major crime, but for taking a single cloak from the spoils of war before it was distributed. Even Bilal, the black companion often cited as a symbol of equality, had a complex status. The historical sources indicate that he remained under the ownership of Abu Bakr throughout Muhammad's life, only requesting his freedom after the Prophet had passed away. These records also preserve the Prophet's use of racial slurs and imagery. He once told his followers that if they wanted to see what Satan looked like, they should look at a specific black man with inflamed eyes and dark ruddy cheeks. This prejudice appears even in Muhammad's instructions on leadership. He told his followers to obey their ruler even in the most extreme scenario, which he described as an Ethiopian slave with a head like a raisin. The historical evidence suggests a system where racial hierarchy was not a peripheral issue, but a codified reality, devaluing black individuals socially and economically. If the documented foundation of early Islam contains these elements of anti-blackness, how did it become the destination for those seeking racial justice? The phenomenon relies on a massive information gap. Most people in the West lack access to the primary historical texts, allowing modern narrators to fill that void with whatever claims are most appealing to their audience. This process involves shaping the religion to fit the listener's specific desires. A preacher can sell Islam as a champion of feminism to women, or a system of liberation to civil rights advocates, simply by omitting the parts of the text that say otherwise. This system works because it asks for trust rather than investigation. It relies on converts accepting a tailored summary without ever cross-referencing it with the original source material. The contrast between the modern sales pitch and the ancient manuscript is stark. To understand the truth of any belief system, you must look past the marketing and examine the evidence written in its own history.